In this video, we're going to share 5 advanced tactics to help you improve your singles strategy and win more matches. Some of these we don't think you'll have heard before, so let's get straight into it, starting with tactic 1.
After analysing over 1,000 professional return of serves, we found that both men and women lifted from the low serve a huge 56% of the time. They also cleared from the high serve 28% of the time. So, our first tactic is for you to lift or clear on your return of serve. Now you might be thinking, surely this gives my opponent the attack right from the start of the rally. And we'll get onto that in just a second. But using this tactic prevents your opponent from controlling the rally from the front of the court.
Yeah, if you attempt to play a tight net shot or drop from the return of serve, you'll need to add extra height to get it close to the net. But against better players, adding this height gives them the time to then play a tighter net shot, putting you into a lot of trouble.
Pushing your opponents to the back straight away also means that they'll start to anticipate your lift or clear, which can then open up more space for you to play it to the net area. But where should you lift or clear to?
Well, we'd recommend targeting the forehand corner most of the time. This is because many advanced players actually prefer their round the head corner, as it's easier to rotate from here and play better shots.
Now, let's rewind a second to that question that you probably thought earlier. Surely this gives my opponent the attack right from the start of the rally. Well, this is where your lift or clear quality is really important. If you're lifting short and to the middle, then yes, you probably are giving them the attack right from the start of the rally.
So make sure your lift off the return is to the corner and a good length, and then it's likely their next shot won't put you under too much pressure.
If you study professional players, they've all got what we call a super strength, a shot or shots that when played at the right time is almost always a winner, or at the very least gets them into a winning position. Let's look at a few pro men's singles players. Anders Antonsen has his round the head cross-court smash, or Viktor Axelsen has his forehand slice. But in our opinion, at the advanced level, it's not enough to just develop a super strength. You then need to develop ways to set up this shot.
A funny example of this that comes to mind is when I played Sophia in one of our videos, and I said to the camera,
I'm going to play some shots down her forehand side. Hopefully then that sets up my forehand side so I can come in and play my deceptive shot, my favourite shot.
I know she's like 8 years old, but this does work against people at all levels. It even worked against the world champion. I just don't have too many singles examples on video.
So step 1 is to develop your own super strength, if you've not already got one. Maybe it's a forehand slice like Viktor Axelsen, or a forehand cross-court net like Greg. And then step 2 is to set this up. One way that Viktor Axelsen sets up his forehand attack is by using pushes. And this is actually our third tactic. To push, then punish.
A very common shot for advanced singles players is a push to the service line, often to the middle. And if you're watching this video, you might already be using this shot. If you're not, or you are, but you're not really sure why you're using it, it's a great way to reduce the angle your opponent can play, and also not expose yourself to tight net shots. This is because it's really hard for your opponent to play a tight net shot from here, as they're further away. Think of it like throwing a ball over a wall or fence. If you're stood closer, you can easily make it land closer to the fence. But if you're stood further away, then it's harder to get it to land as close. And it's also much more likely for you to make a mistake.
Now, whilst we see a lot of you who are advanced players using this push, you often miss out this crucial next step.
Yeah. There's actually one more advantage of using this push. It tempts your opponent to play a flat lift. You can then anticipate this by switching your feet so that you're in a much better position. As we've mentioned, this is something 2-time Olympic champion Viktor Axelsen does very well.
Yeah, I'd love a replay of that, because the way Viktor Axelsen switched his feet there after this net shot. Look at this, switch. He was already anticipating the lift.
So this is our third tactic. Use these pushes, switch your feet to anticipate the flat lift and then punish it.
But you might be thinking, what if they don't play this flat lift? Not to worry, you can adjust your feet and play a lift or clear to reset the rally. In general, you should split step in the direction of the most likely shot, like you can see Lizzie Jar doing here. And the more you think about what this shot will be, the better the singles player you'll become.
Now, before we move on to tactic 4, it's important to note that this particular tactic we've mentioned of pushing to the service line comes with 2 caveats. 1, it can only be used if you're fast enough and have good enough footwork to get to flat lifts to either side. And 2, if your opponent is really slow, then tighter net shots will be more effective, even if you're playing them from further back.
Did you know that at the top level of singles, around 35% of lifts have some form of deception on them? This is because it can disrupt your opponent's movement and make them take the shot a lot later. And it also has the knock-on effect that your net shots become a lot more effective too.
So, if 35% of pro lifts are deceptive, then we'd recommend you try and add more deceptive lifts into your game too. So here are 3 examples of deceptive lifts that you can try. We'll link this old video of ours going through each of these step by step in the description below.
If you're playing singles at one constant speed, you're making life easy for your opponent. This is a common mistake we see, and instead you need to vary both the pace of your movement and of your shots. For example, look at the difference between Greg keeping the same pace in his drop shots, compared to changing the pace.
Also, look at the difference between Jenny keeping the same pace in her movement compared to changing the pace.
It's not just when you're attacking either. Increasing your speed can help you recover quickly out of corners and get back into the rally. Using pace changes at the right time like this is a big reason why professional players make playing singles look so easy.
Yeah, as you've just seen, it can have a huge impact on your game. It not only disrupts your opponent's rhythm and enables you to win more points, but it can also help you save some energy as you're not going at 100% speed all of the time. And this is why pros sometimes look like they're basically walking after lifts or clears, as they recover quickly and then slow down. This helps their momentum and timing when moving to the next shot. Remember, it's much easier to steer a moving ship than a stationary one.
At the more advanced level, tactics become more nuanced and there's no set rules. But before choosing what tactics to implement, we'd recommend really considering both your and your opponent's style of play, along with what you can and can't do so well.
And if defending in singles is something you can't do so well, then you might want to watch this video next to help you improve your singles defence. And if you've enjoyed this video, then please drop it a like, smash the subscribe button if you haven't already, so that YouTube can serve you up with some more of our videos. Bye!